breeze took the clouds all away. It swept the sky like a broom and got ready for a very special day. This is a very special time. Show me a hill I can climb. Give me a mountain to move, and I'll prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. Early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way.
Good morning. We are here on Coffee Club on this Tuesday morning, and I think it's going to be a nice day. The sun's out, and our construction noises have stopped for just a few seconds. So anyway, we're here this morning, and this is a political paid political program from our good friend Brad Gilbert. He's running for county council, and he's with us this morning. We're going to learn more about him, and also this morning we're joined by Angel Purlee from AFP.
That's right. Good morning.
And you're just fresh off of an AFP. What was it? A camp out?
It was a retreat.
A retreat. Okay. What do you do at a retreat for AFP?
Well, a retreat is where all the employees, so 600 plus, a little over 600, get together, and we just kind of bounce ideas, and we educate, and we go over, what's going. It's a yearly thing, so we go over what's been going on the past year, what's new, what's old, what worked, what didn't work, and these are ideas for the future. And it's just a really good way to get leadership and all the HQ and state staff all together. So it's a really cool thing. So yeah, we did that last week, and it was very successful.
Do you think they'll ever have one of these, like in the Bahamas or in Mexico instead of?
Well, they try to do something different. So what I learned, it's funny because I actually asked. I said, "What is the process for this? Like, how do you get this? Like, how do you put it all together? You can tell it's well thought out." And they send out every year to specific states, and like
to give a proposal or something.
Yeah, like kind of like a point of referral, and it's like they send those out. What their needs are? Can their needs be met? And then whoever responds. That's how they kind of decide. We've done Orlando. They did Kansas City. I missed that one because I was on maternity leave. They did Indianapolis one year, and now we've been to Pittsburgh. So it's pretty cool event. Like I said, the people that
maybe
that put
Phoenix or LA would respond, or
well, we don't have
Cozumel.
A branch in California, but
is there a Cozumel group of
I was kind of rooting for like Honolulu or something. I'm here for Hawaii.
Is there AFP in Hawaii?
No.
Well then,
not that I'm aware of. I mean, if there is,
they need to send us over there to start that.
Well, I said I'm all for deployment down there. Like, if they need to deploy me down there for something, I'll be ready. I'm ready to knock on doors, whatever I need to do. But yeah, so we did that.
You don't hear much politically from Hawaii.
No, I don't know.
Which may be a good thing.
Yeah, and maybe they like it that way. They don't want to. They want to be left alone.
I can see that.
um, so no, we did that. Joe Biden was next door, so that was really cool. That was completely unplanned. We were in Pittsburgh, City of Steel. So
What was he doing?
City of Steel, City of Bridges. He was there for a meeting. I don't know, with some City of Steel workers, and it was really cool.
Did they have to go in and clean up, like they did in San Francisco last year when we went? He met the Chinese.
Oh no, I know nothing. I know nothing about.
They cleaned up San Francisco like the week before they went and swept.
The only thing I can say is his public schedule. He was supposed to be there at, I don't remember, it was like 12:45. Realized as we're there, and he didn't get there till I think it was like almost 2:00. So he decided, I think, to take a different route.
He took a nap, I think.
But yeah, so it was kind of cool. We ended up, there were some different news sources that were there, and they covered it. So it was really cool. We had a really fun time. That was completely impromptu, really cool. So yeah, it was a great event, great week, big week, busy week. Also
Cool.
visit Niagara Falls, If you haven't been, you should go. Brad, have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
Yes.
You've been to Niagara Falls?
One time, yes. Amazing.
Do you remember all the things? Because they say you won't forget. Is that true?
No, I think I do remember all the things. Plus, it was not too many years ago that I went, so I'm
It's a little fresh.
So it's a little fresh, yeah. It's not like I went when I was a kid, but a little kid. I'm still a kid at heart, so. But yeah,
Right.
I think the vibration in your chest is something that I remember, like a good concert. You know how you have that, But
Right.
it was just amazing. So
Yeah, it is really cool. Now, did you end up going to the Canada side, or did you stay over here?
Canada side, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've learned, I did a lot of research before, and because I really wanted to make sure I did all the things and I did it right.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was pretty successful. It is a really good one-dayer. I mean, you couldn't really do it all in one day. At least what I thought.
I've had people say that they like the U.S. side better than the Canada side, but either way, I was just in awe. It's just to take a moment and be in your own head, so to speak, and just taking stuff in. It's just amazing.
So that was the argument. So the debate, is the Canada side better, or is the America side better? So this is what I've decided is, whenever you are looking at it from the Canada side, it is gorgeous. It looks great. You can see the whole photo. You get it all. But you can angle yourself on the USA side that you get that view as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're on that boat ride, you're up close and personal with it all.
Yeah.
So you really don't. So to me, it's like, I don't think I would have ever realized there was a debate about it had I not, because I loved both sides. There wasn't one, I think, because Mom went as well, I think we both ended up deciding that had we not, we're glad we went to the Canada side to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Had we not gone, now that we know, it's like, we don't ever, it's not like a thing we have to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the Canada side, because, you're really not missing out a whole lot.
Yeah, I just, it ended up being logistically, where we were. We were in Canada at the time.
Well,
so
Canada's a lot more
just,
tourist, there's a lot more things to do.
Yeah, and but it's just that moment or moments or whatever when you can just try to take in the view is just kind of it makes you think about, wow, there's a lot going on in this world.
I was told
that
it was kind of like Gatlinburg over there.
It is without all of the vape shops.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's there now. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it is touristy, but I like that. I like the touristy things to
it's fun.
and do.
No, it's fun.
I like it. So yeah, but it's something that I would recommend somebody going at least, go one time and see it.
Right. Yeah. It was really cool. Our biggest mistake was, I never have cash. And that was a whole to-do. If I had a PSA for Americans, make sure you have at least $1 per person, because I tell you what, that was insane. It took us a hot second to get back because of that reason. I found there was a machine where you could, an ATM machine where you could get money out. Well, the lowest you could get out was 20, which by the time you do it, it's $28 in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little frustrated with that. And then I get my 20 out, only to find out that the change machines don't take 20s. So there's Americans on the Canada side coming out, and I'm like, hey, do you happen to have change for a 20? So she had 2 10s. So I take her 2 10s. I go back to the machine. They don't take 10s. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I have 3 small kids and my mother's sitting here. We're just trying to get back to the USA side. So I had to go down to a store, and they were super, super nice. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll give you change. Yeah. So it was quite the experience.
Definitely do it.
All right. And so Brad is here this morning, and he is a candidate for Washington County Council at large.
Yep.
And your slogan is a leader for the people.
Yes.
Which is ironic because you are the people leader at Walmart.
Yeah. It started out, and there's a commercial in Louisville that a guy has that same slogan, and someone pointed that out to me. But yeah, my actual title is I'm a people leader for Walmart. That's what my title is.
Or maybe the guy in Salem had the logo.
I think so. And we'll go with that. Yeah, because I'm like, that's just how I roll.
Right.
But
the guy actually from Washington County, Indiana, had it.
Yeah. I should have trademarked it, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
That would have been good. But yeah, so my official title is I'm a people leader, and so I just kind of made a play on that, and but at the same time, it's a serious thing to me that I want to be a leader for the people and for all of the people, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about this process is getting out to talk to a lot of people. I've had a lot of people reach out, and I said in one of my videos that I put on Facebook, it's always flattering when the people that are in your tribe and in your circle, they're just like, you'll do great at this. But it's also good to hear someone who you have respect for, they have respect for you, that are willing to say, hey, we don't agree on everything, but at least I know you'll listen to different perspectives. And I think that's important to me because I want to be open-minded as a councilman. And I think sometimes in politics, whether that's either side, we stop listening at times when we need to. And you may not agree, and you may not be able to make both sides, every opinion happy. But I think the most important aspect of that, and this is what I think, and I've never been a politician before, I've never ran for office, so I just think you need to listen to perspectives, and you may not vote the way all of these people want you to vote, but you completely ignore most of the people you're representing if you don't even listen. And a lot of times they can teach you something. I've had people that I've had a mindset on what I think an issue is about, and we've talked about it, and it's you gotta find common ground too. When you're open-minded, you gotta find common ground, and be willing to stand behind your commitments and what you believe, how you end up voting.
You're never going to agree with somebody 100% of the time.
Right.
I mean, I there's just, so if you can find somebody that you can compromise, or for the most part, that for the majority of things you agree with. I mean, that right there is something that I think is valuable. And I always say, if you say you agree with somebody 100%, you're lying.
Right.
That's just not true. I have several people that I respect and that I vote for, and I do not agree with them 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But the accessibility, as you said, you've had people come up to you, and I think that's very important, being accessible, being present, because, even on other candidates that, I've worked for in the past, and that we've got campaigns going on right now with Americans for Prosperity, I think one of the biggest things is having that accessibility. Well, I want to talk to him or her, I want to be able to have those conversations, and it's like, that's great. You should do that. And so I think that as long as you are ready, available, ready to have those conversations, and you're accessible, I think that's very important to to the voters.
And I'm glad to hear that, because that's I've gotten that feedback. But that's one thing that, not being a politician, not having ran for office, I have to be accessible, and that benefits me, not just the voters that may want to find out what my candidacy is about, what I'm about, what I believe in. But that benefits me, because being accessible is like that lets me, I get to learn a lot, and I get to see a lot of different things. And we've got great folks here. We've got great folks here that they may have a vision of Washington County this way, and someone else may have it this way, but that doesn't mean they're not all wanting good things, and they want people to thrive here and be able to live here and come home here if you moved away like I did.
Sure. I noticed that your ear was bent over a little bit, so I'm going to guess that while you've been working over next door, that the people have stopped and shared their thoughts on things.
They have, and and I knew that going in, and I'm very fortunate that Mike King and I had the discussion of, I was like, well, there's going to be times that people are going to stop, and he's been very supportive of that. And as a matter of fact, he sends people over to say, hey, go talk to him about this, and that. But I have,
total Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
But it's
total Mike King.
Yes, it is. It's like,
go talk to Brad.
Yeah, go over there and talk to him about this.
Actually, the guy you want to talk to is right over there, Brad Gilbert.
Yeah. Like, he'll say, go over there and talk to Brad about kickbacks. It's like, oh, Mike, you can't say stuff like that, but it's funny. It's funny because it's, his way of kind of getting out of things or putting me on the spot. He loves to see me on the spot. But when people stop, I've had some people that are really adamant about how they feel about some things going on in the county, and some things that have been voted on or being discussed. And but I will have to say that there's not, even people that are upset, so to speak, or they want to see some sort of change, they're still so respectful about their people. I think it's interesting to me. I was prepared to be running. I want to run for something. This is what I want to do, but I was prepared that people say, "Oh, they're going to try to say, what are you against? What are you, this person, that person?" And I really haven't ran across as much of that as I'm new to this, like I said, and I haven't run it. But people are passionate, but they're passionate in a way that I think they're wanting to be heard. I think that comes back to they'll stop me and they want to be heard, and I think that is, I love that interaction though.
Yeah.
Both of you in this room know that I won't shy away from a conversation if someone wants to just engage in a conversation.
Sure, yeah.
But I will have to say that when people have tried to pin me down on something, and I don't mean pin me down in a way, but they say, well, how would you handle this, or how would you handle that? I have to be very transparent. I'm not on the county council now. I'm running to be on the county council. So I've never seen a budget. I've never seen a dollar. I've never seen a cent of how things are allocated. And so in the overall big picture, I can't be for or against anything. I'm just for the best way we spend our money. So if I'm lucky enough to make it to the county council, then I'll be very diligent on how we spend our money. And it's very important. And there needs to be more voices and more perspectives on how we spend our money.
So to segue in that, so how does your work experience with Walmart, how does that tailor to you becoming a county councilman?
Well, so I don't know a lot of people if they understand this, but Walmart is we're very methodical, and we plan ahead. I mean, we're always ready for the next, we're ready for the next holiday, everything, right? But just like, and I'll take, as a people leader, I deal with around $175,000 worth of payroll every week. And that is allocated through how the hours are done, the schedules are done. And I'm the guy that does the schedules for all the associates in the building. So when you look at that amount of dollars, that it's not a every week is the same type thing. You've got to decide this. We've got a holiday coming up next week for this, or a community event. This area, like right now, seasonal lawn and gardens kicking off, so we've ramped up their hours, and there are other places. Sure. And when you have a budget, but when I'm planning a schedule, I'm 3 weeks out. But also, we are always scheduled to the end of the quarter. So I know what Walmart is saying our budget needs to be, and then Mike and I sit down and say, well, this is how we need to fine tune it based on what our specific needs are. And so every week I'm dealing with this, and basically I write a budget every week. And so I think that experience with, you know, a $95 million supercenter that we're dealing with and the sales on that, I think that
kind of a big thing.
yeah. And so I think I've gotten good at budgets, and I've also gotten good at when people say, and we have great leaders over there, but you know, every once in a while there's one that wants their area to get a little bit more than maybe, you know, hey, I need this, and it's like, well, I'm pretty good at, you show me why you need this, and you give me the proof of why this is paid off for us, or I think it needs to be somewhere else. So I'm good at deep diving into budgets too. So I think that has helped me. And the HR side of it also is the people side. I'm a pretty good listener. I feel like that that's something that people are comfortable coming and talk to me, even in tough situations. And being an HR guy, there's in any type of leadership capacity, you know, over 17 years, there's aspects of it that you don't want to have those tough conversations, especially when it comes to, you know, money, and when it comes to things how we're going to do. I'm not afraid to have those conversations because I feel comfortable in what I'm doing and deciding. Sure. And also you got to take the personal factor into it too.
Absolutely. Going back to the budget, you said there's times of the year where you need more staff.
Yeah.
Does that budget fluctuate, or do you have to try to figure out how to adjust hours?
It can.
Okay.
It can, depending on, like I said, we're out by a quarter. So what happens is we're allocated so many hours on a typical quarter that doesn't have a lot going on. But that can change based on, we have to plan ahead to where things that go on, like races that we have here at the Speedway, for example, that brings more customers in, and there's just it's not our normal traffic pattern. So home office may for that week give us so many hours, but we also can go back and say, and that's why we're so far ahead on special events and things like that, that we say this is actually what we need. Mike keeps a 52-week file, and I keep a 52-week file, and we kind of use it as correction of errors to see what happened and how the traffic patterns are. But we are allowed to allocate more hours and do that. And that is something that Mike and I sit down every week, every Monday. I know a lot of people have, you know, said, why are your Mondays so busy? And, you know, I've got a regional call, I've got a market call, but Monday is our big day to sit down and do our planning to see if there's anything that's changed, and community events factor into that, holidays factor into that. But we're given a window. So when I'm talking about like $175,000 worth of payroll, it may be a little bit less than that if we don't have major events going on.
Sure.
But it can be more than that if we need that. Sure. And again, that's Mike and I sat down and we have to. And it's just like, and I kind of relate that to how I would be as a councilman. You know, we have to show to Walmart why we need this, and I can't think of a time that Mike and I have been turned down on stuff because we justify where we're going to spend the money, and I kind of think that relates to being a councilman. You know, it's like,
sure.
If you can justify where this money needs to go and how it needs to be changed, and so that's, again, I think another benefit that I would bring to the council.
I mean, I always walk into Walmart and I have what I need, and there's staff. So I mean, like, you got to be doing something. There's stuff going on behind these scenes. You know that it's a functioning Walmart. Yeah. It functions great. It does great things, and it's funny because I think everybody always asks. I've been asked several times since Walmart, you know, what'd you do before Walmart? Like, and I was like, I don't remember at this point. I don't know if I was even living on my own before Walmart. But I mean, you know, it is like if you need something, Walmart's got it. That was a big slogan. Walmart don't got it, you don't need it. And so, I just, you know, you can tell there is things going on behind the scenes that are making, you know, these things work that, you know, maybe go unnoticed sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
I think we said that in the house too. If we don't have it here, you don't need it.
Well,
did.
I mean,
That's
I think
a true statement.
I think I've probably said that a couple times to 18-year-old that's very near and dear to my heart. But so, and I think there are a lot of moving pieces behind, that, and I don't even really mean to oversimplify and not to overglorify what I do every day. I don't mean to oversimplify it either. There's a lot of moving pieces, but I think one thing that helps me as well is adaptability. I mean, there's times that I've got to pivot, and when I've got everything, and I'm a spreadsheet guy when it comes to my schedules and the budgets for things. I'll admit it. I am a spreadsheet guy. I'm a numbers guy. I want to look and.
That's
But
good. That's a good quality to have. That's great.
So
some of us who just shop and don't look at the numbers. I mean, that's really really good.
Yes,
They're
yes.
really good
But there's
quality.
some things you can't plan for, like toilet paper outages, things like that. It's just like why, and,
Right, right.
But when it comes to change, we kind of joke. If, after 17, almost 18 years with Walmart, I kind of joke. Change is inevitable, but if you really think about it, it's in our culture that every day we rebuild the Walmart store. Why? Because we restock. And again, when you're looking at, this supercenter should not be a $95 million supercenter. We're going to be over 100 this year, but we are. And we're very proud of that, and it's been intentional. But there's times you got to pivot. It may not. Home office may even say, hey, this is coming in and this is what's going to happen. And you're just like, but I guarantee you that when we do pivot, we make it better. That's what we got to do.
You make a very valid point. The similarities of, I mean, there are a lot. I mean, I'm not saying they're exactly like, but there are a lot of similarities of what you do and what the county council. I mean, like, just like we talked about the transparency of, like what's happening. And not everybody's going to these county council meetings. They're not seeing what's going on in these meetings. And so just like your position, not everybody knows what's going on behind the scenes. But I tell you right now, they all pay attention whenever those prices go up or something,
yes.
In the county.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's just funny how, like there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and that. And as a county councilman, I think that, you'll be used to that, and you'll be, used to being like, hey, listen, we actually had several meetings on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that there is a lot of similarities in that position. So I agree with that.
That's good to hear you think that, because I sometimes in my mind I'm like, well, are the similarities there that because again, this is my first time running for this office, and I've done a little research and what goes on, but it's just like anything else, outsider looking in. It's easy to be an armchair quarterback. It is. But at the same time, it's just like if you do a little research and look around and you talk to people, I talked to a lot of people before I actually decided to throw my hat in the ring. I mean, I was talking about it, but I really wanted to get some outsiders, and honestly, I actually talked to more people that are outside of my inner circle than my inner circle, because your tribe will sometimes tell you,
your cheerleader, your hike,
yes, yes,
absolutely, you should do that.
So I one young lady, she actually put it out there on Facebook, but she was kind of the determining factor when she said, politically, you and I are probably on opposite sides of, but I've worked with her, I've known her, I respect her, and she said, but one thing that I've always appreciated about you is in work and in life, you are transparent, you say what you think, but you try to find common ground.
Sure.
And I think that's important.
Were there any, when did you decide to run, and was there any particular thing going on that caused you to want to run?
Well, one thing that was disappointing to me was the money for the sheriff's department was something that's in my commercial, that's been on Facebook. I'm a people person. I'm an HR guy. I do budgets and all of the scheduling, but at the end of the day, also I'm the people leader, and I'm responsible for that. And so I deal with people's pay. I deal with their benefits and all of that type of thing. And one thing too that I think that the reason that kind of hit home to me is one of the things I'm responsible for is talent development. I make sure that if there's an associate that starts out as a cart pusher and they want to be a member of management, it may not be at this store, but we do that. This store, we promoted a lot of people that came in as a cart pusher, cashier, a stockman, whatever, as part-time jobs, and now they're running stores. So that's amazing. Yeah. And so that to me is like, you invest in your people. The dollars that we talk about when it comes to payroll, that's investment in people, and that's investment in people right here in Washington County. So the thing about the coverage and things like that, and how we were having, and you don't have to pay exactly what someone around you pays, but you do other things that make it beneficial. If you think about the people that are wanting to serve, just let's use the county officers, for example. If you think about those people, they want to serve here, they're from here, they want to raise their family here, and they want to have the ability to do something they love, and let's be honest, it's a calling that's different for someone who's willing to go out there and protect the rest of us. Sure. And that's something that I couldn't do, and so you got to have that respect. You don't have to maybe pay exactly what other people are paying, but you show them the value of it, and you do increase their pay. You give them tools and resources to do their job effectively. That will make them want to stay. Sure. And you make the overall experience and just showing a culture of support and appreciation can help with the talent of that, the recruitment of that. You can have your candidate pool if it's known that you're not willing to even invest anything, or you're not even trying to show the support, and in my opinion, this is my opinion of how it looked to me as a voter, as a taxpayer, then you're not going to recruit good people. You want the best of the best, especially in those jobs. So that kind of kicked the ball off. I was like, well, that's really where I really started thinking seriously about it. And as an HR guy, the other hat that I wear in leadership there, I just think, oh, you've got to do that. And so I did take the time to talk to some officers, not as a candidate. It was before that. And then when everything came to where we're going to rethink this and all that, and I hats off to the council for coming back and giving more money. I think that we need to appreciate that. But just in my opinion, it never should have gotten to that point. You need to listen to your people sooner.
Sure. The reason I ask about the money, because in this situation, the county has a set amount.
Yep. And
you have to try to figure out how to divide that up.
Yes. Well, and if you think about this, and someone had kind of explained it to me this way, and I thought it was interesting. You've got a pie. Right now, the pie is not getting bigger. But people want different sizes of slices. They want their slice of that pie to be bigger. So, and there again, there's certain times that, first of all, is there waste in that? Do we take a slice out that the money could have been spent in a better way? And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, doing a deep dive into my spreadsheets, my budgets, and things like that. It's just like, are we getting the return on that, or is that where our priorities need to be? And the last thing about the officer pay and everything like that, when you make projects a priority over your people, that's just not who I am as an HR guy. So that's kind of not who I'd be as a councilman.
Well, you're coming from, and this isn't just, I don't want to insult Walmart, but you're not at just any old Walmart. You're at a Walmart that's won multiple awards. The Helen Walton Award,
Supercenter of the Year,
yes,
three times,
and you're always the top of the regional.
I have people that will travel. I mean, out of town. That come
so, and this Thursday, a couple days from now, I get the honor of being on a regional call with the regional team that we're specifically talking about talent development, recruitment, and engagement. This store is number one in associate engagement, and we have been ever since we opened our doors, and that's intentional. Mike King will tell you, and I agree with this every day. You engage every day, and I don't mean engage by saying, "Hey, Angel, how's your job going today?" No, it's not. It's, "Hey, Angel, how you doing today? How are the kids?" That's engagement, and that's important. We have the lowest turnover of any Walmart store in the North BU of 1,900 stores. That's intentional, and we are. And that's not insulting any of the other Walmarts. I mean, I'm a Walmart guy, and there's opportunities everywhere. We have opportunities, but the people metrics here, I think, and I think Mike King leads that. I know I'm the people leader, but Mike King is the best operator that has the people skills of any Walmart manager that I've ever worked for, worked around, known, anything in my entire almost 18 years at Walmart. Yeah. And but it's intentional. But it becomes easy when you build that culture. So I'm used to thinking about people, and I don't like turnover, and I don't like seeing people leave the county to do other things. But you've got to engage, and there's got to be different ways to handle that.
But I think what sets you apart from other candidates is you can bring that excellence and those skills to the county and try to get the county to the point where there's that excellence and that low turnover and that budget component and the people component and all that.
Yeah, and well, thank you for that, because that's exactly how I would. Again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm not a politician. This is the first time I've ran for office. So, will someone say, "Well, now technically you are a politician, Brad. You're on the ballot." But I do want to bring that, and I do. That was another thing that in the decision with close friends and family, I want to. That's the councilman I want to be. The budget guy, the numbers guy, but the people guy. Yeah. And I think and my slogan kind of, I want to be a leader for the people. And I want to hear everyone's voice. Yeah. Again, I may vote a different way that you may disagree with, but I am open to those conversations, and I'm willing to have those. But I'm also willing to say, this is why I feel this way, and if I vote a certain way, I'm willing to discuss it too and say this is why. And again, I'm not trying to armchair quarterback anything that's gone on, but just the perspective of, I've never seen a budget, I've never seen a dollar or cent, like I said, but when it comes to the things that we talked about that kind of like really made me want to really try to help is the perception of it is, are we listening? And that's what I heard a lot of. No one's listening, and that's important to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I think, like I said, accessibility. I mean, even just, and I know we're talking about Walmart a lot, but I mean that's what you do. We live right now, so
yeah.
So it makes sense. But like, I mean, I see you out like in Walmart. Like it's not like you're back in a desk. Like I see you out, and and so you're still accessible at Walmart. If I need something there, so. There's no hiding for you, Brad.
No,
no,
and I part of my job, like I said, is talent development and that type of thing, and I have to focus on turnover and what how that looks, and so being out there is part of that, but at the same time, I love that. As much as I love looking at spreadsheets and doing my schedules now, I'll be very transparent. There's times that if I have a call, I've got to be locked away. But I spend about 2.5 hours locked away. This is what I'm focusing on, and then I'll walk away and revisit it. But for the most part, I don't want to be back there in my office. I like to be out there, much to the chagrin of some people, there's no like, no, don't you need to go do something in your office, but I think that's another thing that makes Walmart a little bit different, in that it affords me the ability to do the things from the business aspect of it, but it also, part of my job is they expect me to be out there, not just for customers, but for the associates and stuff like that, and to me, that's a win-win.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think they've ever had, and I'm just trying to think back the last 10 or 15 years, but to have a council member, and they really don't have an HR person for the county.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've ever had somebody on the council before that had these skills.
Yeah. Well, and I actually had someone who's a current elected official that said, we had discussions and we disagree on some things, but they actually said, that's one thing that one reason that they would support me is because I bring those skills that we really haven't had there. So
you bring a lot to the table. I mean,
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Really, you've got a lot of experience and a lot of skills that I think would be very beneficial as a councilman. So.
Yeah, thank you.
And also this will be a kind of a first on election night. I think I don't know for sure, but you'll be on the radio.
Yes, and that's.
So I'm going to guess that maybe I'm going to go out on a limb. But one area of the ballots might get just a little bit more attention than the others.
Yeah, and hopefully in a good way. Right?
No bias
no,
reporting.
no,
and we. Becky and I have talked about that, and
she too has been on the ballot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. And it was I remember many times where it's like we've
only the fall.
But I mean, it's one of those things that at least she was gracious enough, and I love doing the election coverage. I really do, and I appreciate seeing candidates that maybe the outcome is not what they wanted, and still how. At the end of the night, people are like, if it's a city race or county race, we're all wanting the same thing, and you come together, and so that's good. But she was gracious enough to say, if you don't want to be on there reading that, I understand. But it's like, I love the coverage. I just love the coverage.
My only advice is, this is what I always tell people who are running is, it's a very it's a lot. It is. It's a lot. No matter what it is, local, state, federal, it's always a lot. And, to put your name in the hat. And I just always say, listen, you've got this small window to do whatever you can and all that you can do. Mm-hmm. And as long as you get to election night and you say, I have done literally everything I possibly can to get elected at this point in time. I have done all the things I can possibly do. I mean, at that point, it's up to the voters. And so I just tell them, as long as you can say those words on election night, then it's not up to you. It's not up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to the voters.
That's great to hear that. I feel like now I have been trying to do everything, and being new to this, I've asked a lot of people for advice, and I've asked political folks that maybe are not someone that I would align with, just to hear the different perspective. But I've heard a lot of that. It's I had someone tell me yesterday that I have a great deal of respect for, that said, always run like you're 1 or 2 votes behind, always. And I just thought that was kind of cool to think.
Every vote counts.
But I will tell you, I have loved getting out and walking and talking to people, even the ones that are just like, why'd you show up to my house on a Saturday? It's like,
Oh,
so.
And that's crazy. That's the first time they've got that too. That's a telltale sign too. I mean, you need to also keep that like, hey, it's surprising that I'm the first one that's ever showed up to your house on a Saturday.
Yeah. Well, and that's good. There's other candidates that have been out walking, but I think that in my particular race, I've gotten feedback that, hey, you're the first one that's in this group that's come to see me, and of course I've had people say, well, I've seen your sign, and so tell me about who Brad Gilbert is, and I've had a couple people say, how do you separate Walmart from county council? And like we've been talking about, I mean, they're 2 different things, but the way I function at Walmart is what I will bring to the council. So I don't think you can completely separate those. You just have to, it's different because you're going to be voting on things, but
right.
But it's been a great process and again, I've had people that have, said, hey, for whatever reason, I, would not support you. However, they asked me questions, and I've listened and we've had good discussions, and so they're just like, well, I may have to rethink that. So I just, there's hope for anything, but just having those discussions, and I think it's important. I think you cannot.
Me? Oh, great! This is a great opportunity. Let me just sit down right here. Great, thank you for letting me know that. Now let's chat.
Yes. So, but I don't think you can live in a bubble. I don't think anybody in their work, home, even political life can live in a bubble and only talk to people that agree with you.
Oh no, that's not realistic.
And that's not. You've known me long enough. That's not who I am.
Right. Well, and it's not realistic. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now that you might be, in the minority if you live like that. I mean, every day. I mean, we are talking to people that oppose our candidate. And that's just part of it. I mean, that's just, and a lot of people just assume just because you make these assumptions about like, oh, I'm voting for so and so because of ABC. Well, do you know the opponent? Do you know? And just the opposite. Some people vote for the other people because of the opponent. But I mean, it's great that you're having those conversations so that you're able to tell your story, tell your thoughts, and tell your plans. And so I think it's imperative that they understand. So whenever it's actually a really good practice that you're saying like. You're not saying, oh, you're not voting for me. Oh, okay, well, thanks for your time. Goodbye. It's, well, hang on here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hold the phone. Give me a second here. And if you still feel the same way after I'm done, we're having this conversation, get to know me and know why I want to do this. I think that's very important, and I think that, that speaks volume to your character.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's, and it's not that I'm always down for an argument. I don't mean it that way, but I always.
I don't think it's an argument either. I think it's a giving you're providing that education that they may or may not have, and that's what you do at the doors. That's why you're going to the doors because you're educating these people. You're telling them about yourself, and it sounds like whatever example you gave, and maybe this multiple people. You're providing them information they weren't even aware of.
Yeah, and I think in those situations, I learned stuff too, and that's really great. And again, that goes back to even if you don't vote for me and I make it through the fall and hopefully end up being on county council, I represent, especially council at large, I'm representing everyone, whether you voted for me or not, and whether you agree with me or not. Right. And so I think that's something that I will take, and I appreciate those differences of views, But I'll be transparent. I may not vote the way you want me to vote on things, but I will have a reason why, and I'm willing to explain why I voted a certain way with anything.
Sure. And to point out, this is just the at-large members this year.
Yep.
They're going to pick 3. There's 5 running. Two of those 5 are incumbents, so you've got a chance. I mean, there's 3 spots open. So,
yeah. So.
And that's on Tuesday, May the 7th, and then next Tuesday, the week before the election, Wslm is going to have their political forum.
Yes, and I will be there. Yes, absolutely.
If you want to hear what
forum, not a debate.
Yeah, it's a forum. One of the reasons that Becky wanted to do this is because people would complain that maybe they were misquoted in some forms of media, and this is a chance for people to come and talk and for people to hear what they have to say without any change in that. So.
Yeah, and I've been lucky enough to just, and I will have to say thank you to Wslm and Becky and Greg and everybody involved that has given me the opportunity to be involved in election night coverage, but I've gotten to be involved in the candidate forums, helping film and being involved that way. And I'm excited about this to be on the other end of that. And but I think this, I think this forum is great, and I think that people in this community should be thankful that we've got someone like Wslm willing to do that. And there's candidates out there that may not have the resources to do certain things, and signs, whatever that is, and but this way and that way, you can't be misquoted. When it's right there, people can hear it, and I think that's important too. I'm looking forward to it.
That's the reason why I think it's very important that the voters take advantage of the forum.
And,
and you hear often, I don't know how often you've heard it along your campaign trail, but you hear it often that, oh, well, I never, I never hear them, I never see them, to get out. And it's forums, it's debates, it's meet and greets, it's all these things that this is your opportunity. And it's going to be live streamed. I mean, so you have the radio you can listen to. You have the City Hall, correct? You can have City Hall, you can come and be a part.
Yeah.
These are the opportunities. And I think that this is where people, like, I don't know if they miss them. I don't know. I don't know how, but it's like right here. Well, right here it is. This is your opportunity to get to know them and to take advantage of it, because they're giving you social media. They're giving you the radio. They're giving you in person.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, how else to reach you.
Yeah. People are just, I think people have so much lack of interest sometimes until something happens. And then you hear from them.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing too, the important thing too, is this is a forum, not a debate. And I think there are people out there that a debate format, a political debate format, may be just not interesting to them. But I think if you're trying to do your due diligence, which I think is important, check out all the candidates, know who you're voting for, understand what you're voting for, do your research, and this is another opportunity. This forum just gives you information, and I think that, and I think every candidate running, incumbent or newcomer, should take the time to be there, because even as, you know, I've gotten to know some incumbents that, you know, I've gotten to know them in a different way, and had more in-depth conversations that I could have had as a voter any time, not just as someone running for office. And it's just like, wow, I learned something. And I think that's important. So at the end of the day, I'm a voter, so I want to know all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Speaking of debates, there will be a governor's debate tonight, and we'll have that on the radio from 7 to 8:30. And then, knock on wood, hopefully, then we'll go straight into the game 2 of the Pacers playoffs with who is it? The Bucks.
So happy they made the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they got beat by about 20 points Sunday night, so we'll see what happens tonight. Anyway,
hope for the best, right?
Hope for the best. Yeah. But anyway, I think all the candidates. Let's see, Mike Braun, Brad Chambers, Suzanne Crouch, Eric Doden. And Curtis Hill and Jamie Rittenauer will be there. Yeah, will be there. I think those are the ones it's going to be.
Rainwater's not going to be there?
No.
Well.
No. There's no call for rain today.
See, I like debates like that. I absolutely love those.
Well, if you can tune in.
I really do. It's fun because I do too. I want to know as much as I can.
Yeah. I do too. I mean, you see the flip side, of how candidates, you get to see both. Well, if they give the rebuttal, I don't know how this debate's going to be. How it's going to be planned out. But yeah, I do. I like a good debate.
Yeah.
I think many people will tell you I like a good debate.
Right or wrong, you debate.
Well, that shows commitment. And all of that.
Well, good thing I'm never wrong, so I don't know what that's like.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I mean, okay.
I'm here all day. Come to me for all your answers. All of them, every single one of them.
Apparently, a lot of times at home, I'm never right, so we'll go with that.
I know about that.
An 18-year-old that's like, I don't think he understands how I've navigated life up to this point. It's just like, really, I'm so glad that
you have no idea, right?
I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, well, mine are a little younger, so whenever we get into that little debacle, how did you know that? Well, I'm just that smart, dude. I don't know. To them, I seem like so smart. It's great.
Well, that changes. That changes.
Yeah, you've only got a few more years of that.
Yeah.
It started out, I noticed that started around 12, and then it dropped to 10, and then it might even be a little bit lower now. But yeah.
No, you suddenly become nothing. So yeah. But anyway.
Another thing, real quick, not to take away from your time, but property taxes are due. And you've got till the 10th of May to pay those. So.
And I'm glad you did bring that up, because we were lucky enough yesterday. I've been blessed to be on some boards here since I've come back home, and but you can't pry me out of the county now. You know, it's like this is where I'm going to be. But I've been on the Chamber of Commerce board. I've been on the YMCA. I'm still on the YMCA board. Was CVO for a while, Chief Volunteer Officer, and so I've gotten to see a lot of things. But yesterday at the Rotary Club, our current treasurer, Nancy Coates, came, and she was talking about property taxes, you know, and some of the things around that. And I thought it was very interesting that, you know, on average, we have about between $1.5 million and almost $2 million in property taxes that aren't collected every year in Washington County. And I was a little surprised by that. Well, I mean, you know, but you know, and there's a process to keep it from going to state sale and things like that. But I just think it's interesting that something that she's doing is, which I think is very important, is that's not required by state law, is, you know, to call these people and do due diligence to make sure that has something changed. Do you not have your tax bills or whatever? But reaching out.
Did you get your bill?
Yeah, and a lot of this comes from people selling their homes on contract and not, you know, the taxes are part of that and stuff. But there's a lot of things. But I think it's interesting that, you know, there's things that we should do to help get that's money every year that the county can use, and what are we doing to get that, to collect that in a good way? I mean, what are we, there's, you know, and the number that goes actually to sale is, she said, you know, around between 36 and 40 a year, and that's actually down, you know, since our wonderful pandemic. But at the same time, it's just like, what are we doing to get that money in for the county? And you know, that's something to be if simple phone calls can make a difference, and she's been doing that. So I thought it was interesting. Just the approach has been a little bit different, but at the same time, I did not realize the amount of money that, you know, is being left on the table, so to speak.
As the county council, when you hear something like that, I know she's responsible for that job, but as a council, is there? I mean, do you have any encouragement?
I mean, we would just offer support and, you know, things like that. But where that ties into, she works closely with the auditor's office, and the auditor, it works closely with the council about the budget and all that kind of stuff. But when you think, you know, even if, hey, I'm not responsible, so to speak, but if you know this money, you know, how can we help you, whoever it is, to get this money in? Because at the end of the day, all of us are, you know, the taxpayers for the county. We represent them in some way, and whatever we could do. I just thought that was interesting that, you know, sometimes it's the things we forget about. Just, you know, something that, the state doesn't say I have to do this, the county doesn't say I have to do this, but I'm going to do this, and can impact. Nice, and so, you know, we just opportunities. And I think when it comes to our tax dollars, you need to make sure that we owe that then, once we get them, to make sure we're spending them in the right way.
Sure. And she told us the other night, and we need to have her on before, maybe this week or next week, but that there's no homestead exemption anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's why maybe some of the taxes are a little bit higher.
Yeah. And she had a breakdown of the taxes, and, you know, and you don't ever want to, and that's a good thing, that some townships went up. I lived in a township that the taxes went down. I was, you know, Houghton Vernon Township, our taxes went down. But, however, when you think about things, you don't want to raise taxes. I'm not a just, you know, tax and spend guy, you know, whatever. But when you look at those numbers, it's like, okay, I don't want to raise taxes, but it goes back to, are the council folks being held accountable for spending those tax dollars in the right way? Because if you spend it in the right way, that pie's not going to get bigger. But if you spend it in the right way, it doesn't mean that you have to bake a new pie and raise taxes.
Right. I mean, if you are the type of elected official who there's a problem and you're looking for the taxpayers to fix that problem, that's your first initial, let's figure out, can we raise taxes here? Like, where can we get this money? I'd say that's problematic.
It is.
You need to look within first.
I agree.
if your first decision should not be, okay, let's look to the taxpayers to fund this then,
right.
Because that's not going to work. You're going to bankrupt a bunch of people.
Because the taxpayers don't work for you.
mindset.
The taxpayers don't work for you. You work for them.
100%.
And it's just like your own personal budget. You're going to find ways to where, well, I didn't need to buy this or spend money on this, but I needed to do it here. You know, your personal budget normally is not going to change, right? So, but when you look at that, you need to do the same thing as a councilman. You know, you need to find where maybe there's better opportunity.
Be your immediate solution.
No, absolutely. It should be your last solution.
I thought it was interesting recently when they were going through the meetings about the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
He asked for a certain number,
mm-hmm.
and of course the county's come back with a lower number, and then they worked with the auditor
mm-hmm.
and a couple of the other staff to go through, and they actually found where they could pull
mm-hmm.
some money to do that.
Yeah.
And so
that's good.
That's a good thing.
That is great.
It's great, but let's not let it get to that point.
And you said that perfectly. That was one of the things that made me say, hey, I want to be out there, because it should not, in my opinion, should not have gotten to that point where we had to have that negotiation. The negotiation should have happened a long time ago. And
we talk about taxes and how important paying them are and not increasing that that is. But also safety, man. Safety is number one. I mean,
yes.
I mean, as long as our county is safe and the people in it, I mean, that's security. I think that's a hard one. That's a hard subject to.
Our police, fire, and EMS need to be supported, and the first thing, and I'm glad you said it that way, because the first thing that we owe the taxpayers and even visitors of our community is they can be safe. You know, if someone's staying here and visiting or whatever, that they are safe. And the next thing to that is we get the best of the best. We have them stay, and we take care of them because they're the ones willing to do that for us.
I think it's kind of like voting. I think some people don't really care until it affects them. And it's like police and fire and emergency personnel. We don't really think about it until we're waiting on them to come to our house.
Yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, unless
they're going. Yeah. If you listen, if you go borrow a scanner, or go buy a scanner.
3 decades of radio gold. The Rick and Bubba Show.
6 minutes now past the hour. A brand new hour has begun, and we thank you for being with us. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Adler, all here today. We just had an update on Greg's puppies. They're all across Rick and Bubba land, and they all turned 1-year-old today. And, boy, they look sharp. They seem to be thriving. Yeah. Lisa Burgess did a good job of picking good homes for each and every one of them. Welcome back, Bill Bubba Buster.
Rick, glad to be here, and thank all of you for joining us. It's a little party we call Rick and Bubba.
We still have much to cover today. Coming up in our next segment, Ma'oz Israel, Kobe Ferguson is the CEO, a Messianic Jewish organization, been around for 50 years. And of course, they are there to try to help the people of Israel in so many ways, but so many times, sadly, when they are suffering the atrocities of yet another conflict. That's going on now, not just there, but here at home as well. And we'll talk to Kobe about that. He has an interesting history. He actually was born and raised in the United States of America. His father planted one of the first interracial congregations in Selma, Alabama.
Really?
And Kobe grew up there, and then he went to Israel over 25 years ago when he married his current wife, who was born and raised in Tel Aviv. So they met while studying at a Bible college in Pensacola, Florida. So there you go. So that story coming up. But if you think that that is happening just there, what's going on in our country right now on the universities mainly involving Jewish people is just bizarre. We've got various videos talking about that. Here is a masked Columbia University student, and they're doing some sort of silent dance without music to entertain Palestinian activists.
Yeah.
That are occupying the campus. What?
Yeah, this is a dance that not sure why they're doing this, and also don't forget this school costs like $50,000 a year. And
okay.
Here you go.
And this is for
Palestine. They're dancing for Palestine.
They're dancing for Palestine, and thank goodness they have their mask on, and they're doing this dance for these Palestinians who are occupying the campus.
Yeah.
I can tell they must not be all that familiar with Sharia law.
Right.
Because, wouldn't have been allowed to do that.
No.
They're with Hamas in control. All right, so the next one, we have a Columbia professor saying that his key card to enter the school has been deactivated because anti-Israel protesters have taken over the school. He is a Jewish professor. So here we go.
And the school deactivated his card, quote, for his own safety.
Civil right as a Jewish person to be on campus. I have a right as a professor employed by the university to be on campus. They deactivated my card. These are 5 lawsuits that are happening.
So there you go.
Yes, so now keep in mind, they're even telling students to go back to online classes because the campus has become so dangerous. Here's the current president of Columbia University, and this is back in 2001, calling the 9/11 terror attack that killed over 3,000 Americans simply a form of protesting.
So it's not, you'll always have individuals who will have extreme views, but what's really troubling in the region is that there's actually quite a broad base of society which has some sympathy for the terrorists, not so much because they approve of their methods, but it's a form of protesting against a system which is not delivering for them on the economic or the political front.
President of Columbia.
Yeah, that...
Columbia University.
All right, next we got AOC getting in the mix. She's with our current president. It's supposed to be the Climate Corps event. Is that what this is supposed to be on Earth Day?
Yeah.
But in the middle of this, you almost feel there's an endorsement for the pro-Hamas takeover of the campuses. Here we go.
It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
Probably not the time to tie that into Earth Day, since it's a completely different topic. These people are not taking over the campuses for the good of the earth. They're taking over campuses and trying to attack, Jewish people.
And they've got this encampment here set up that you've seen. And it's so funny that they act like this is a grassroots movement. Who went and bought all these tents, though? I want to know how'd they get all the same 3-person tents on this?
Yeah. Next, Ron DeSantis says, let's stop with the foolishness. I'm just going to tell you exactly what this is all about. And he's going to say, here's how you can solve the anti-Semitism that's taking place on college campuses. And he shoots pretty straight. Here we go.
Yale University, your alma mater, regarding the anti-Semitic demonstrations there. And then secondly, I want to ask you about restoration. What can the state government do that the federal government isn't doing, namely the U.S. Corps of Engineers, where they're faltering? What could you guys do more outside of what you're doing?
Well, first on what's happening in these college campuses, if I were in charge, I would send the Justice Department after those universities, because this is unacceptable to have this type of anti-Semitism, where it's not just bad speech. They're really targeting Jewish students. It's a hostile environment and violates the civil rights of those students. And these universities, they just aren't willing to do what needs to be done to ensure. I can tell you this, in Florida, at our state universities, there's a code of conduct. You have a right to protest and stuff, but you don't have a right to harass other people. You don't have a right to put a target on someone's back based on their religion or ethnicity. And if you're doing those things, you're going to be shown the door. I think these students, if they're foreign students on visas, their visas should be canceled and they should be sent home. That should just happen. Second, if it's students, American students, and they're violating code of conduct, you start expelling people, the behavior will change. Right now in higher education, particularly in those schools up there, the inmates run the asylum. And so the students do this stuff knowing there's not going to be any repercussions. The minute there's repercussions, you will start to see a change in behavior. And so I think what's going on up there is disgraceful, but I think Biden has been very weak in basically allowing that to happen without getting the Department of Education and the Department of Justice involved, which I would have done.
Yeah, you've said it 1,000 times, Bubba. We've said it. We have a right to express ourselves in this country.
Absolutely.
We do not have the right to harass people, to keep people from getting their education, to keep professors from being able to come on the campus, because we've created such a dangerous situation solely for these people because of their religious convictions and their ethnicity. I dare say I don't think we would allow, and rightfully so, a bunch of white people to come onto a campus and make black students feel so uncomfortable they can't get their education and target them, and it become dangerous for them just because we don't like them. That would not be tolerated. It shouldn't be tolerated. And when you have these Palestinian people doing this to Jewish people, it should not be tolerated either in those who are supporting Hamas. This is one of the more bizarre college protests we've ever had, and it seems to be one of the most uninformed.
Well, we've seen this on college campuses when a speaker comes that does not fit the liberal agenda of the perceived liberal agenda of a university, where they will just try to shout them down. See, I don't think that is protest. That's not free speech. If you're unhappy with somebody that's going to be there, have a protest outside, march, do whatever. You don't impede people trying to get in. You go in, let people have their say. Let people hear what they got to say, and then you can be the judge of it on its own merit. But not letting them speak is not a form of protest.
Right. Your protest and your right to protest, the line to draw is when you keep me from practicing my right to speak my mind as well. Now you've overstepped, and you certainly can't make people feel dangerous, like they're in danger, and you're going to harm them.
Yeah,
you can't target them.
Saying death to America, death to Israel, that's not allowed.
Well, we'll talk deeper about that with Kobe Ferguson. He's our guest next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
A wave of concern is washing over America. Recent studies reveal that an astonishing 56% of our fellow citizens report feelings of anxiety or dread about the upcoming presidential election. Hey, this is Rick. This is why we're standing with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Now listen, AMAC is more than a senior discount organization. During these challenging times, they fight for common sense and hope our nation returns to traditional American values. Now, as an AMAC member, we're not only going to enjoy money-saving benefits, but also the AMAC magazine, free Social Security and Medicare advice, a trusted voice in Washington, and a community of like-minded patriots who love this country. Take advantage of this election year special, 4 years for $30, and be part of the solution over the next 4 years by becoming an AMAC member. You're strengthening a movement dedicated to preserving the principles we hold dear. Join now, amac.us/Bubba. That's amac.us/Bubba. There's also a link at rickandbubba.com. Most emergencies come without warning, and when the next one comes, you won't have time to pack and prepare. It's better to get ready now before an emergency strikes. Start with a 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply at preparewithbubba.com, helping millions of Americans prepare since 2008. My Patriot Supply are experts in self-reliance. Their 4-week emergency food kits offer over 2,000 calories every day, and these kits last up to 25 years. Go to preparewithbubba.com, save $50 a kit.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, this is Jeremiah, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Chicken Minis is that soft roll with that honey butter brushed on it. It's so fluffy, like a cloud. It might be a mini, but it doesn't taste like a mini. That sweet, savory bite and that fluffy roll with that honey butter on it and that crispy chicken, it's an awesome way to start your day, the perfect breakfast treat.
Breakfast starts with Chicken Minis and Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Oh, honey, it's our favorite leaf filter trusted pro, Matt. Matt, come in, come in.
Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Okay. Of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you.
Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing?
That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/WWO to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard.
Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/WWO and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Patriot Mobile offers the same dependable nationwide coverage we all want, accessing all three major networks, but without funding agendas you don't agree with. Switching sends the message you support free speech, religious freedoms, our Constitution, as well as our military, veterans, and first responder heroes. Their 100% USA-based customer service team makes switching easy. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. Your choice. Check them out at patriotmobile.com/Bubba and get free activation, or find the link at rickandbubba.com.
Rick and Bubba's in Ohio!
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Pass the gravy, please.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Ooh, it brings me to my knees.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
I can't
It's 21 minutes now past the hour, as promised. You've heard us over the last few weeks talking about our partnership with Maoz Israel and what's going on in Israel yet again. This organization's been around for 50 years. Kobe Ferguson is the CEO. Kobe, welcome to Rick and Bubba. How are you, sir?
Great to be on air with you guys.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Kobe.
So are we saying it right? Maoz Israel?
You know what? I heard a couple of the spots you did, and you're like one of the only people that got it right in the first try. So
okay, good.
Yeah,
good. That's
but
rare.
We'll say Moaz, Maoz, but Maoz is a Hebrew word that means strength.
Okay.
And it comes from the scripture, Adonai Ma'ozi, the Lord is my strength. So that's our whole vision, is to strengthen Israel.
Well, you have quite a background with the show. When our national syndicator and sales team said, "Oh, Kobe's very familiar with the show," I was like, "What, the guy in Israel?" But your background goes all the way back to Selma, Alabama, which is where we're heard on Alex FM. And you said you even did some work with that station there. So that's where your father planted a church, right?
Yeah, as far as we know, the first interracial congregation there.
Wow.
And it's funny because people say that was back in the 50s, 60s. I said, unfortunately, it took into the 80s, for that to happen.
You're right, it did. Yeah, it did. And you grew up in Selma.
So my teenage years, early, kind of formative years. And I guess wherever you spend your teenage years, that's kind of where you kind of harken back to. So born in Dallas, kind of moved around a lot growing up, and kind of settled in Selma. My grandmother is from that area. My parents are from Birmingham. So
kind of just fit to hear you guys growing up too, you know.
Well, that's great. So let's. Unfortunately, here we are again. Now we've talked about this and we talked about you in some of our partnership. This is a Messianic Jewish organization. So Yeshua is Messiah. You guys do not pull any punches on that. You hope to reach and disciple both Arab and Jews to recognize Yeshua as the Messiah. Of course, that's Jesus. But at the same time, you want to be the hands and feet of taking care of your people as we're instructed to do. Talk a little bit about what's going on right now and how people can help, because I get emails, and now I can just point them to you, going, what can we do? What can we do? Talk a little bit about the situation we're in right now.
Yeah, you know, we've been around 50 years. I think you mentioned that. And my in-laws are American Jews, immigrated to Israel, and my mother-in-law's first trip was 1958. So been around for a little bit. And the whole vision was, you know, how many believers are there, Jewish believers live in Israel or Israeli? And they found just handfuls, literally. And then as the years have progressed for folks who are into missions, I mean, we're on an exponential growth. We just seen, and I've been in land most of my life now. And just in my lifetime, over 25 years in land, I've seen it went from just dozens and dozens of people my age at that time in the early 20s to now hundreds and thousands. So our body of believers is maybe 10, 20,000 people. It's still about 0.5%, so much less than 1% of the population, but it's much more than handfuls. And so now reaching people with the gospel.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter, like the gap between your bed and wall that's big enough for your phone, but not your hand, or the gutters growing their own trees, or the wall outlet your kids keep calling Sparky. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be your heating or air conditioning. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Give Seth at Marshall's a call today at 812-967-3742, and we'll be glad to take care of you.
There's an invasion on our southern border and threats from abroad. We need unapologetic leaders who will take a stand. Jim Lucas. State Representative Jim Lucas is the conservative fighting for our communities and small towns against this invasion and against the far left seeking to destroy the fabric of our nation. Jim Lucas voted to strengthen Indiana's ban on sanctuary cities